A small but exquisitely stately home, set amidst an emerald pond of parkland, Threepwood Hall was the ideal marriage plot. Through that pillared portico, Emma Woodhouse could have orchestrated the local gentry. Behind those blue window shutters, Bertie Wooster could have resolved the most challenging affair of the heart. In that kitchen garden, Lord Emsworth could have pottered to his heart's content. An adornment to the county of Suffolk, Threepwood Hall exuded bonhomie from cellars to chimneys. This balmy day in May showed off the hall at its very best. The raked gravel waited expectantly, as if for the carriage wheels of the propertied classes. Beams of sunlight swept languidly over the rose garden and dappled a pond on which ducks dallied. Somewhere nearby, a pig groaned appreciatively as an underling scratched his back. The Heritage Trust had restored this Regency jewel with loving care. No wonder that more than one production manager had their phone number on speed dial. It was a type of location that demanded an epic love story. The village beyond the hall featured an appropriate supporting cast. In the church belfry, a trio of teachers were persistently venting their classroom frustrations on their bell ropes. Opposite the pub, a fund manager in red trousers was rolling the cricket pitch in preparation for the coming match and his own coronary. A mother pondering alimony in a puce puffer jacket was walking her labradoodle through the park. Everything appeared to offer visitors a return to an idyllic England before agribusiness and house price inflation had made the countryside a monoculture. But by Monday morning, each extra would have returned to London. In the back kitchen of the hall, a man of nigh on 40 summers sat with his laptop open, stressing about his spreadsheet when he would have preferred to have imagined the woman of his dreams. Unfolded, as it were, Fred would have been a tall man. He had once played wing on the school rugby field, such was the length of his limbs and his fleetness of foot. Now he could lay claim to long, but sadly no longer to tall. Worse, 20 years of paralysis had left his legs like anemic twiglets, as he had confessed to a sympathetic friend. Despite this, he still had the grace of the great rugby player, that ability to weave through obstacles and avoid the bruising encounters and crunching tackles which sadden most lives. Excepting the undodged disaster of the car crash, the life he led had been charmed for the most part. As a result, he retained a youthful grace which endeared him to staff, clients, and above all, friends. Ordinarily, Fred was as sunny as a globally warmed summer afternoon, with the genial disposition of a small-town solicitor. Today, however, despite the wheelchair-accessible stately home, of which he was proprietor for the weekend, he was as tremulous as a climate activist beset by melting ice caps and extreme weather events. He peered at his notes while fiddling with his wheelchair push rims in a manner that his psychologist pal would surely have slapped a label on. Dressed for the part in a rugby shirt and green corduroys, he was temporarily lord of all he surveyed, and he wasn't sure he liked it. It had been so difficult juggling everyone's needs. He had filled the hall with people who had almost nothing in common except him. Most had been to one of his previous birthday parties, except Alberto, Robin's partner, who was a completely unknown quantity. Fred just hoped that the Costa Rican would get on with everyone, and vice versa. Another potential problem was Hugh, his oldest school friend, who would rather be taken for a misanthrope than admit to being shy, and who resisted every effort to be included. And since shortly after graduation, Fred's glimpses of Heather had mainly come via television screens or computer monitors, though she had always loomed large in his imagination.